Okay, live. So I always start by showing my website, and I've been doing a lot of stuff site behind the scenes. I've been creating a bunch of resources. So I have on descriptmastery.com, if you go to resources, there is my free templates, which I've completely redone. I overhauled all of them, added a bunch of new ones. I think there's over 100 in there now, and they're a lot better than they were, and they're adapted to the new Descript. The animations have the latest animations with the latest update and all that kind of stuff. And so this is descriptmastery.com/free templates, and I'll put that in the chat actually. And then I also have a 7-day email course, and the way this works is you sign up for it, and right away you get the first email, and every email is around an hour to an hour and a half of assignments. So there's a lesson, and then here's what's covered in the lessons. So day one is like creating your first project, the bare bones basics. And then it explains things, it walks you through it. There's a bunch of videos linked along the way, mostly to my YouTube videos, but also some previews into the full Descript Mastery course. And then, yeah, it's just a drip email for 7 days until by the end, you've created your first project. And all you need to sign up for that is your email. And I'll put that link in the chat as well. It's descriptmastery.com/7 days. And then the other resource is my Squadcast best practices checklist. And this is like just exactly what it sounds like. It's a checklist of things to consider and ensure that you have in place before you do a Squadcast remote recording call. And if you follow this checklist, when you follow this checklist, I've never had a Squadcast call fail. It's things like being on the right browser, turning off background apps, even restarting your computer, basics like that. And all the way to your recording environment, being a quiet recording environment, free of echoes, things like that. So yeah, all that stuff is under resources on descriptmastery.com. Tools is my recommended tools like camera, microphone, things like that. And by the way, feel free to drop, as people start joining, feel free to drop your questions in the chat as I start getting into Descript. Otherwise, I'll just kind of kill some time here. And so then also I have the course, I have the templates, which is, right now this links to the templates masterclass, which is just about an hour-long class. And it just teaches you how to create templates, how to apply them, how to edit them, how to troubleshoot them when they're not working, because templates are finicky. So that's the templates masterclass. And then of course, probably what I would say is my flagship service, the thing I spend half of my day, every day, is tutoring. You can book 1 hour, 3 sessions, a package of 3 sessions, or a package of 5 sessions, or a 30-minute session. And yeah, that's the quickest way to learn Descript. All that on descriptmastery.com. Moving over to actual Descript. I thought we'd start today by talking about, unless anyone has questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. I figured we'd start by talking about remote or quick recordings versus, oh, got a question, perfect, thank you. So question is, I was using animations last night. I had trouble adding a second or third animation and moving animations. Okay, so I think I know what you're getting at with that. I'm gonna create a video project, and were those animations in the same scene or were they separated by scenes? I'm assuming they're probably in the same scene. And so I'm gonna add something to this. Hold on, I need something long enough. Let me see what I got in here. Okay, this 3-minute video, I don't even know what video this is. Always a surprise. And it's gonna take a while to load. You know what, I'm gonna pull up the Descript on the web. I'm on Descript on the desktop, and the web will actually be faster because right now it's trying to download 500 megabytes of this file. So let me switch over here. Switch into my drive. Demonstration project, untitled project. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Descript. The web is so much faster sometimes. This is one case where that is true. Let me just reposition stuff here. Okay. Sorry about that. So what I think you were running into probably is if we apply an animation to this, and I can do that by just clicking on the layer, hit animation, and then custom, and then I get these two keyframes, and then so that's animation number one, and I'll make this animation so that it zooms in like that, and I'll make it like shorter by putting them closer together, so it looks like this. Okay, there's my first animation. And then to add a second animation, well, actually, let me first explain. Wherever that second keyframe ended, so if I look at my keyframes again, and I'm just checking the live stream that you can see this. Yeah. So this is the second, oh, and let me turn on my cursor highlights here. So this is the second keyframe right here. And wherever the layout is, and when I say the layout, I'm talking about this, the X and Y, the height and width, whatever the properties of the layout are at that second keyframe is what it's going to stay at for the rest of that scene. And in this case, it's just one scene, so it's going to stay like that for the rest of this entire project. Now, if I click somewhere else and I create a second animation, I'll hit custom. I get the same thing. My first keyframe now is the same position in X and Y, height and width, as the second keyframe of the first animation. Hopefully that makes sense. And then if I move my second keyframe and I make this so it zooms back out to its original position, like that, here's how it'll look. So there's the zoom in, animation one. Okay. So animation two. So does that make sense? Is there something else you were doing that wasn't working? If you give me a little more context, I can try to recreate it. Because obviously there's a lot more different types of animations you could do. You could have, maybe you had it going off the screen or doing something else. But the important thing to know is that like wherever the keyframe, wherever the animation ends is where the properties of that video is going to stay until you change it either by the scene ending or another animation. Nothing. Okay, cool. Yeah, give it a try. Let me know. You can even try it right now while we're on the call. And then if it's not working or something's different, you could let me know and I could try to recreate it or walk you through it. So yeah, I'm trying to think of any other situations. Was your animation a zoom or was it something else? Because it works the same way. I'll make another one just for fun here. So by the time of my third animation, there's animation one. There's in a screen. Ah, yes, it does matter. Because, so a question in the chat is, does it matter that it was a screen recording? Yes, it does matter because it's two separate layers. So let me show you a screen recording. Let me see if I have one. If not, I'll make one real quick. Okay, I'm just gonna make it a screen recording from scratch. So I'll do a recording. I'm gonna do FaceTime camera, screen sharing. Oh, I can't because I'm already on a, oh no, here I can. So let me do here, record in Descript. Okay, testing. This is my sample of a screen recording that I'm going to add animations to, and let's see how it looks. Okay, it's processing. Yeah, so screen recordings go into sequences, if you're familiar with sequences. And so I'll show you what this looks like. If I go to my timeline, oops, and I don't have audio here, but that's okay. So if you notice, if I click here, there's my screen with the purple border around it. And then if I click on the webcam, there's a purple border around that. So these are separate layers. So this is a different layer. And what I could do is I could apply an animation here, and I could say custom, and I could say the second keyframe. It works the same way, but I think the thing you were missing was that they're separate layers. So yeah, I could animate this, and by the second keyframe, I could make it, oh wait, let me go back to that animation. And then right here, I could make this circle like that kind of. Yeah. Yeah. So glad you mentioned that, because that obviously does make a big difference. And a sequence, by the way, so it looks like one layer on the timeline, but if you could right click on it and say edit sequence, this is what is going on under the hood. There's your webcam layer, and there's your screen recording layer. And for some reason my audio didn't work. It wasn't picking up my mic, but if there was, this would have sound associated with it. And I could change the volume. I could apply studio sound just to my webcam versus adding it to both. So the sequence view is how you do multiple layers at once. And then if you make an edit out here back in the timeline, it'll keep it in sync, all those different layers that are inside of it in sync without messing everything up. So yeah, sequences are definitely more advanced, but you can see how they're super important. So yeah, thank you for the question. Good question. Let's see what else I could cover. The webcam was what I was going to cover, the screen recording. So that was perfect start. That was the webcam, the record feature from inside of the browser version, inside of a project. The other way to do it is from the top of the quick recorder, which is on a Mac. It's on the top of the computer, and I know you can't see it on the screen share here on the live stream, but if you click the D logo, and that's huge, wow. I don't know why that's so big. Then it pops in, and this is different because you can control the size of the recording here, like I'm doing right now, and I can make it a circle right here. But the difference is this is going to be, I think the word is rasterized into the video. It's going to be part of the video. It's not going to be a separate layer, as with the one that I just showed you. So this is just an alternative way to do it. It's less compute intensive because it's only recording one track versus 2 or 3 or 4, like happens with the first way that you saw. But it's more or less the same. Like you choose your camera, and then you can toggle on computer audio, the camera that you want to use, whether that's your built-in camera or like a third-party one, and then whether to show your screen or not, and then which microphone to use. And then you hit record and edit, and when you do that, and then you do your recording, you hit stop, it'll send that layer, it's only one layer in this case, to Descript for you to just edit directly there. And yeah, works great. And then your settings are right here, so you can change all that stuff up. The other thing besides record and edit is if you click on this arrow, there's record and share. And record and share is like Loom functionality, where it'll open up in your browser, and then you can share that link with anyone. It could be like you walking through a software, training an employee, something like that, and then they can just quickly watch it. And it also is like recorded, it'll immediately transcribe. It's just meant to be like a much faster process to be able to quickly get it out and share. Minimal editing as well, as opposed to the browser or the app, where it's more there's more going on. Okay. So that's the recorder. Yeah, maybe I'll talk more about the sequence. So if you do the edit sequence, first of all, let me go back to the thing I started with, which was just one layer, the thing that I added my animations to. If I right click on it, it's not currently a sequence, and so it's not an option when I right click, but I can click on detach audio, and what that's going to do is going to separate the video layer and the audio layer, and it doesn't look different here, but when I right click on it, now I can do edit sequence, and there's my audio layer, there's my video layer. So the reason you might want to do this is if for some reason they got out of sync, you could slide the audio layer relative to the video layer and then sync up the sound so that it's better. You could mute the audio. You could, what else? You could speed up the audio for some reason. Then the whole thing would be out of sync with the video after that, but you could do that. You could do different stuff here. That's pretty much it. But you could see if you had a bunch of tracks that this would keep things lined up. And if I go to like an interview, let me just show you how it looks here. Once again, it looks like one layer, but this is in fact a sequence. And then inside of here, there's the video, there's the audio. Actually, that's not a good example either, because when you bring something from Squadcast, it'll have two separate tracks, two separate video tracks. And it'll automatically be synced up. Squadcast does all of that. So as soon as you hit the edit and Descript button, it sends it over, and then all you have to do is just edit it. Just cut out the stuff you don't want, add studio sound if you want, and that's pretty much it. Well, that's an oversimplification, obviously. You might still have hours and hours of editing, but Squadcast makes it very simple in the setup phase. Okay, so what else? Maybe I could play around with some animations a bit more here. Actually, I'm going to show there's always a lot of interest in templates. So the new templates that I made, these are the free ones on my website. I have here a template for different situations, and they're labeled. So like one's called Zoom Landscape. So for a landscape video, this will just be a zoom right at the beginning by like 10%. It's pretty small zoom. Same thing with portrait, but the portrait goes from like small to centered or full screen, full canvas. And
from webcam in the corner to full screen.
That one's for a screen recording. Oh, and I need to fix that actually. There's a little bit of a border there. I'll do that right now. So to fix that, I would go to the animation, I'll scroll down, click on the keyframes, find the second keyframe, and I'm gonna make it just a touch bigger, and now it fills that whole thing.
From webcam in the corner to full screen.
So there we go. So you could apply this exact template to your own screen recording, and it would behave exactly like this. It had the animation that takes your webcam in the bottom left, the default position, and then expands it to full screen. And I'll just publish changes so that everyone who has access to this will get the updated link. And then if I go to the next one, this one is from full screen to the webcam.
Go from full size to circle.
And this animation down to a circle. And this one is if you have like two people doing an interview, they're both in the frame, then it'll do this. It'll zoom in on the speaker on the left. This one, if it's already zoomed in on the speaker on the left, zooms out to show both. This one, zoom in on the right. Oops. Zoom out on the right. This one's a pan So if it's zoomed in on the left speaker, it'll pan over to the right side. And on this one, right to left. So yeah, this pack is one of the ones that you can download and then apply it. If you're in this exact situation, you could apply these and it would save you from having to manually apply all those animations. YouTube outros. This one has something like 10 or 12 different generic outros. And the idea here is that this is for YouTube. So you could, inside of your YouTube studio, put your subscribe logo right there, put a suggested playlist, and put a next video suggestion right there. And then it's got that kind of gentle music. I don't know if you can hear that over the stream. And then here's mine. So same thing here. And this is a really easy one and simple one to replicate. You could just put your logo. It's got a slow zoom. And then I would put the subscribe button, the suggested videos on the sides, and then it's got the music. So cool, simple. There's a electronic outro. Here's animal outro. And all this is Descript B-roll with a songs that I've paid for, and then just a white shapes with opacity taken down, and then text over it. And obviously the text would get covered up, or you'd probably delete it, but that's more of a placeholder for where you would place the videos in YouTube Studio. There's a chill one. It's like a drone shot of a field, someone biking. Open road. Guy boxing. And some of these might not look great in practice because he'll be covered up almost entirely by the subscribe button and stuff. But templates are always starting points. Like, I don't expect most people to use these exactly as is. So that one's just kind of cool, like cool music, guy walking away. And then I have some intros. So this one, same soundtracks, but shorter, 5 seconds in length, and then different like nature scenes. And then you could just type into here whatever your video topic is for each video. And there's different themes. If you're like a finance channel or something. Yoga channel. Productivity channel or something. Anyways, I'm kind of just killing time unless anyone has questions. I'll just keep showing these, talking about what went into them. I also have these YouTube like and subscribe buttons. These are adaptations of the ones that Descript ships with. I just like rounded the corners, added the little pop effect. Again, don't know if you can hear that over the stream, but there's like a... And then there's one for the bottom right. And that's just a GIF. That one's got a whoosh sound, whoosh. What else? My new ones, Descript Mastery brand ones. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about... So this is for a course, so you can just like put in like the module name of the course. You could put in that was for assignments. So like at the end of every lesson, there's an assignment for the student to practice. And then I would just fill into these titles, the assignment. That was it. And it was just, a way to make it consistent. I didn't have to do that every single video. And
In this module, you're going to learn how to get.
This is the standard. I've been using this on the channel as well. With this title there takes the name of the composition. So whatever the composition name is, it'll automatically be right there. And then it plays for about 5 seconds and it fades out. And then it applies green screen to my webcam. And then that's all I have to do. Super simple. And what else? Transitions. So the way these work are they ship with this sound effect. And then if I go into scene, this one's a cross zoom of 0.4 seconds. So those are the properties of that transition. And I don't know. I don't know if these are worth using, to be honest. Like, transitions are so easy. Same thing with a lot of these, like the zooms. They're not really worth templatizing because templates are so unpredictable. Like how this sound is at the end of this thing. Sometimes it'll go at the end of your scene. Sometimes it'll put it at the exact position that this falls in the template, which is 6 seconds. And so I don't know. It's hit or miss. Sometimes you gotta just come up with what works for your particular workflow. I think the best templates are templates that add layers, like the webcam one I showed you. Those are better than animation templates for the most part. I also have this one called titles. Oh, that's an old one. Oh yeah, I don't think I have that one published. It's only that one. And then YouTube outros, YouTube intros, transitions, sound effects. Sound effects is really simple. It's just sound effects that I use a lot because it saves me from every time finding that sound effect, doing a search for it, then applying it. And so I have things like that whip whoosh that I already showed you. And I have a mouse click. I have keyboard typing. So things that I use a lot that enhance my video, because I'm usually showing Descript. So if I can add a click sound every time I click or typing every time I'm typing, it helps to make it more clear to the viewer, like what I'm doing. And there's other softwares. Descript doesn't do this yet. Hopefully someday. There's other softwares that will add those things automatically. So Camtasia has a thing where you just apply a filter and it automatically adds a click sound, and you can choose the volume of that click and the tone of that click automatically in post. So pretty cool. Hopefully Descript gets that. Descript's super limited on the recording compared to some other apps that are really meant for that. So, question in the chat. I see a lot of YouTube that have snap cuts, focus in tight, and back out quickly over and over. Is that poor editing or a thing? Seems labor intensive for multiple snaps. So, yeah, jump cuts is the name of that. And a jump cut is when there's like let's say I'm right here talking to the camera, and then I cut out an and when I get back from the cut, I'm over here. So that's a jump cut. And so the zooming in and out is actually a way to cover jump cuts. So like if I go from here to over here but zoomed in 10%, that's a way that you can it's one of the ways you can cover up a cut. It's not great. I don't know. I've never worked in, Hollywood to tell you that it's like it's bad. I think you wouldn't see it in a documentary. You wouldn't see it in Netflix. So in that sense, yes, it's bad, but it's the style of YouTube, and that's how you can cut up like just off the cuff talking, covering up ums. And I use it. You've probably seen it in my videos if you've watched my channel much. There's the other way. There's several ways. The best way is if it covers up naturally, anyways. Like you're not the speaker's not moving around a ton, and you can barely tell that they're changing position when you make a cut. But maybe I can illustrate this on a video. That's not a good one to show. Trying to find a good one to demonstrate this. What else is in here? Okay, this will be better. I'm talking to the camera. So if I
The
do
Descript
like,
project structure is something I see.
let me just make a new composition. Sorry, I'm just getting stuff set up here to demonstrate this. Let me take green screen away. Okay. So let's say I cut right there. I say a sentence I didn't need to say, and then it looks like this. So right there, my hands are like up here, and then they're like down here. So one way the best way to fix that is if you can just adjust it a couple frames, and maybe my hands are lower, and I can make it smoother where you can't really, unless you're paying close attention, you wouldn't even really tell that a cut was made. Another way is to, now that that cut is made, I could just zoom in a little bit here, and this is what you're seeing, is people are going from, let me back up even more, like that. And so, and you don't want to overdo it. If you do it too much, like that's probably too strong. That can kind of cover up the jump cut or make it look intentional. And ideally you time it with like a point, like, okay, you're zooming in, you're saying something more important or a key point. And then as soon as you're done with that point, you make another cut, click S, and then you zoom back out, just adjust it back to the full canvas. So now it looks like this. So yeah, that's how, yes, a little bit of poor editing, and it's not super labor intensive. If you saw how I just did it, you can just grab it and just do that. It's not too terrible. But let me undo a couple of those. I'm gonna put this back. The other way, there's several methods of covering up cuts like that. One way is to, oh, and you know what? Why isn't that gonna work? Oh, because it's not a script layer. So let me, well, it could also be an animation. So there's a lot of YouTubers that do animations, like if they're making a key point, then you could add in a custom to, I do this in some of my videos. So like maybe I give an intro and then I'm like, but here's the thing. And then I pause and then it zooms in like this. Oops, that's way too quick. So yeah, just imagine that right here where this animation happens, I'm saying, here's the thing, pause. Yeah, it's probably hard to follow because of the very next scene there. But yeah, you can definitely play around with that type of stuff to add emphasis, to draw focus from or away from things. Like right there. Here's the thing. Boom. Like that. Just makes it a little bit more visually interesting. The other thing too is if I pause to think, a really cool trick is to use the range tool which is, if I close my, where is it? I don't have my range tools right, or my tools right here. So I use the hotkey, which is just R. And if you just click and drag, it allows you to select a specific range, and you could delete, get rid of something that way. But for the sake of what I'm going to show you is you could go to layer, and then right here where it says duration, 1x, it's playing at normal speed, but I could change just what I have selected there to 2x. And now just that little 0.14 of a second is going to play at double speed. And the viewer might not even be able to tell that it's sped up, because like, let's say I'm looking off, I'm thinking about the next sentence I'm going to say. I'm just like kind of thinking. And so it'll just, without creating a jump cut, by splitting it, it's just speeding it up to keep things moving, to keep the pace up. So that's something I do a lot as well. And especially with showing a tutorial, like for example, one that I did yesterday, I think it was the downloading 10x your download speed. Yeah, right here you can see on my timeline, might be really small in the stream, but there's a point right there where it goes to 3x, 2x, and then while I'm waiting for it to load, somewhere along here, right there, I bumped it up to 30x because it takes a minute to process. And so I had a timer going, and I bumped it up to 30x while that timer was running. And then that way the viewer doesn't sit there for a full minute, but you can still see that things are happening. Like I'm still on the view. So you see me like moving around, and then you see the thing going up at 30x speed. So yeah, that's a thing that has really leveled up my editing, is playing around with speed of timing clips and things like that. Yeah, so yeah, definitely it could be an animation, it could just be jump cuts. And yeah, that's one of the hardest things with editing is making it subtle. That's what I always tell people, is like editing is about being subtle. The viewer shouldn't realize that edits are happening. So about the timer, I'll go back to that. So yeah, if you're noticing those jump cuts, they're probably too dramatic. That's probably a good indication, like, okay, I'm not going to do that in my videos. But yeah. So the timer is, did I do a different video for that? I think I put it, oh, I did. Yeah, I overlaid another video because Descript maxes out at 30x. So I exported a video at full speed, and then I'm not going to explain that because I don't even remember how I did that exactly. So I'm going to go back here, and if I go to add a title, so I go to elements, and then any title, doesn't matter, I'll add text. And then I go to layer. So right now it's in free form. And when a title is in free form, that means you can just type anything you want in there. Like text here, whatever. Let me make this bigger so you can see it. Oops, it's way too big. Yeah, like that. And then the other options are captions, which will read the transcript, and there's no transcript on this video, so there's nothing to read. Speaker, which if it was labeled would be the speaker name. Composition name is just going to be untitled because it's untitled, but I could say composition here. Or I could do marker if I had markers, but the last one is timer. That's the one you asked about. So the timer is just, it'll just go with wherever the playhead is at that moment in time. So right now it's at 2 seconds. It shows 2 seconds, just like that. And with that particular one that I showed you, so if you click on these dials, there's count up where it starts from 0. There's count down where it starts from whatever length of this video is, 7 seconds, and then it counts down until it hits 0. And then you can start it, let me do the count up one again. You can start from the beginning where it'll start at 0, 0 and go up to 7. Or if I had markers in here, I could start it at the marker, which is what I did in the previous video I showed you. That's how I started in the middle of my video from 0. I had a marker there that said like start timer. So yeah, that's how you do that. And then if you speed it up, so here, this is the problem that I ran into with that video. That's why I had the 2 layers. If I speed up the underlying video, like I make this 5x, oops, hang on, that's not a good way to demonstrate it. So let me put this in the script. Let me put this in the script, include in script. And I lost my timer. Let me add it again. And go to layer, go to timer. So there's my timer. So yeah, now my whole project's only 3 seconds long because this is 2x or 5x. If I make it 1x again, now my timer is going to go up to 7x again. So it doesn't speed up the timer. It's just reading the length of the project itself. And so that's why I had to do a different layer to create that effect where the timer was moving quickly. Yeah. Good question. Let me know if there's anything else. Let me see what else we got in the effects or the elements setting. Progress bars, waveforms, light leaks, frames. I got an email, I think everyone got an email, every Descript user, that the pricing is about to change. So on July 2nd, they're going to start limiting they're going to change the names of the accounts. So the pro account is now going to be called the creator, and the creator is going to be called the hobbyist. And there's going to be limits on the AI. I think for existing customers, it's going to stay the same. So like everyone that's a customer at the time you're watching this is grandfathered in, and maybe an excuse if you're on the free plan to go upgrade. But it's, yeah, they're going to start limiting the AI features. So I don't know what that's going to look like exactly. But yeah, that's gonna be different. It's pretty generous that we have all this stuff unlimited. There's like edit for clarity, summarize, all this stuff. Like, it's not a insignificant cost to run these through a ChatGPT API. And yeah, all this, I've used everything at this point. The active speaker is very hit or miss. Haven't had great results with that one. Oh, and one thing that wasn't working for me, I tried this on the last 2 live streams, was the importing a YouTube video. So in theory, you should be able to paste a video link from YouTube right here. And let's test that right now. Let's go to my channel and let's go to a video. Here's a super short one that I did today. I'll say copy and paste it in there, hit return, importing YouTube video. I think that's better than what happened. I think it just immediately threw an error before, so that's good. It's only a 27-second video though, so it shouldn't take long. Let's see what happens here. But if this works, this is pretty awesome, because you could just, if you're doing a reaction video, you just put the YouTube video into Descript, transcribe it, do all that stuff, do your recording as a layer on top of it, and then maybe you need minimal editing, just send it off as is. Not that they're that difficult to record anyways, because you can just do a screen recording of the YouTube video playing, but it'll probably be slightly higher quality when you import it this way. Let's see what it comes up with, if anything. Nothing yet. Not off to a good start. And yeah, the dolly thing was broken for me the first couple times I tried to demonstrate it on a live stream, and it's been working lately, so that's good. Does a good job. Brainstorm, write a script, outline. Nothing different there. The captions, translate captions thing is pretty cool, but not exactly sure how to use it yet, other than posting a transcript in a different language maybe, or, well, I guess captions. Yeah, having captions in different language. That makes sense. If you're gonna post into another market, you could just have, you're speaking in English or whatever your native language is, and then have the captions in a different language. I could see that taking off. TikTok, YouTube Shorts, things like that. This is still working on it. I don't know. Let me try it in the app. Let's try it in here. Same link. See if we get a different result. There was an upgrade the other day to version 92. I haven't had a lot of there it is. Okay, so it worked in in both places. So I got 2 of those now. Okay. So it was super quick in the desktop, and then it seemed like it did the web browser at the same time. And yeah, it automatically used my, oh, never mind, sorry. I was thinking that it applied my template, but that's because I made that video with that template. But yeah, then you could just record your reaction video on top of this. That's my video from YouTube. Very cool. I did a video this week about organizing your workspace. So you can go to your workspace view. One thing that people get caught up with is they're on the projects view, and you can't add a folder from here. Your projects view is like everything unorganized in one place, but your workspace is where you can break it up into folders. So when you click on that, then you can start adding these folders. And if you see, I have these things on the left side under my workspace. Those are these little stars. You can favorite things, and then it puts it there for quick access. So I have like some client work. I have YouTube stuff for just this month. I have my general YouTube folder, etc. Whatever makes sense for your personal workflow, you can break that all up here. And you can switch to this view, which doesn't really help when there's no actual videos in there. But here you can see the preview as opposed to the list view, where you just have the small thumbnail there. But yeah, that video got a lot of engagement. People like not realizing that you could organize your folders like that. So I just point that out. If there's any last minute questions, let me know. Otherwise, I think that's all I got to show. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, I have free new resources, the free templates that I showed in the live stream today. Those are available here. 10 different template folders. Each one has multiple things in there. And then the 7-day Descript email course, the Squadcast checklist. And then in the chat, your video this week on publishing the live view. Have you explored ways that B2B could share video via email? That isn't just a link. So like, are you asking about uploading it to a like Google Drive or something, or inviting somebody to a project so that they could edit themselves? Because if you're asking about Okay, Loomish. Yeah. Well, so what I showed you is like Loom. Like I could take this one and I could do publish this web link here, and then it opens in the browser, which you saw, and then this is pretty much like Loom. They can watch this video. I guess if you're asking about like turning off the transcript and stuff, you could do that, where it's like just the video. Or is there something else you're looking for? Because they can leave comments. Like I'm trying to think, what else does Loom have? Okay. Yeah, I think this is what you're looking for. And then and they could download it if they wanted, or you could just do whatever you would do with Loom. Like you could do that right here. And back to the quick recorder, this record and share that I mentioned, that's what will generate the link immediately. Like Loom, like this is the closest to Loom functionality, where it'll just like immediately have the link and you share it, just minimal editing or no editing. And yeah, you can fire that off in an email or whatever you want to do with it. Yeah, that's the idea there. And it works great for client work. You can leave comments back and forth, stuff like that. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, if there's anything else, last 5-minute call. Otherwise, descriptmastery.com. That's where you can find the brand new course. Course is like a week in. Gotten a couple new students every day, which is great. And my tutoring, you can book time with me for an hour, buy a three call pack or a 5 call pack, and I can help you get started with Descript, audit your workflows, make templates for you, whatever you want. The templates actually is a separate offer, and what I've been doing lately for clients that want templates is we get on a workshop call. So I'll get on a call, don't charge you anything for it, but it's $25 per template that I send to you, finalized template. And so that way I have your input like right on the spot, like, okay, what logo do you want me to add? What font do you use? Like, let's get this thing perfect. And then, yeah, and that's been working well. A lot better than before. I was like trying to do it over email and just, that's too tedious. So yeah, whatever you need, descriptmastery.com. It's got it all. Even got a blog somewhere. Yeah, there it is. And these live streams every Friday at 1:30 Mountain Time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. I guess that's the bulk of it. I've recently taken a couple things down to simplify. So the bulk offers are, the bulk of what I offer is the course, the tutoring, and the custom templates. And then free stuff under resources. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Dane, specifically for all the questions. Always great when I'm not just talking to myself. And yeah, hope to see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.